Rob's comments down here in the chat. We got to figure out how you can read the chat down here. I don't even know what beer I will be drinking. My kids did a homemade beer advent calendar. I'm making something like that for my brother-in-law. Not the full advent, just like
if we need to rehydrate after this, we're just going to have a low strength beer to rehydrate with.
I mean, yeah, that's what the other ones. That's the peanut butter whatever is over there. I've got some.
It's a little. I was thinking of, I don't know. I've got some non-alcoholic beer.
Well,
that'll rehydrate me. That'll work.
Anywho, yeah. So the short answer, Rob, where you say everyone, I invited. Something close to about 10 people to come and be a part of this. And all of them couldn't be here. All of them except for Kier. Kier was on last week, and he didn't understand that I was inviting. He thought that I was just telling him that we would be doing a show, and he could come and hang out in the chat, which he may still do. So we may still see Kier in the chat. But it as it came down to that, what is on the hang on. There's some spider's eggs in my glass here.
Oh, nice.
I don't think it's actually spider. What is that? Dude. The one glass I didn't rinse. No, wait, I did just wash that. Whatever. So, I had this conversation. I was just having this conversation today where I went and we had our oh wait, I gotta adjust everything here. We had our office party thing. It's Wednesday. I know, and I try to do this on nights where you can sort of say like, well, let's have a beer night and everything should be all right. So I went into the office Christmas party, and for the first time in the years that we've been having it, the part-time students were there. They work on the help desk. And we said, oh, you've finally been allowed to come out to this. And someone said, no, they're invited every year, but every year they're busy. And they were talking about it saying, oh, yeah, then one of us couldn't be here tonight because they had plans with friends. And I went, oh, yeah, plans with friends. Yeah, I remember that. And then everyone made the joke, oh, tee-hee, we're old now. We don't have friends. And no. I have loads of friends, but when I invite 30 of my friends to something, 2 show up. And that's just what you get. You somehow have committed to doing this on a regular basis, and I am eternally grateful and thankful for that you join me on a weekly basis, as long as you are not working. But yeah, every time I invite other people, it's like pulling teeth. I'm saying, could turn on a computer, point a phone at yourself or something, and drink beer. That's all I'm asking you to do.
I can handle that. That's. I mean, it's approaching the limits of what I can achieve, but I've still managed to do it sort of 2 to 3 a month for the last couple of years, and yeah, I'm pretty good at it, drinking beer and sitting down. I think I've got the hang of it, and talking a bit and eating peanuts, and I reckon I've got this. I've got it down.
It just seems to be that any other group of friends or a group of friends, and they just, no, I've got this, oh, I've got that, and we're all at the age where, my friends invite me to stuff, and I can't go to it because I'm driving my daughter to a volleyball tournament, or I've got my kid, or someone's going this way, someone's going that way. It's always stuff going on. However, regardless,
yes. You're attempting to drink Nova Scotia Dry this evening.
It is 8. It is after 8. We have begun. I am Ross. Joining me is my co-host Ian, and together in the spirit of Christmas, we are attempting to drink Nova Scotia Dry. That is the theme. There is no real other theme other than that. It's just trying to find the Christmassy ones, and honestly, the first one is the most questionable. So we grabbed all of these tonight. These tonight ones we found at the NSLC. I found some other ones at the NSLC as well. So technically we have 7 that holiday ones, and it doesn't include Nine Locks has a special holiday brew, but it's only available at their store. In fact, oh yeah, one of the 7 was it's only available at the Salt Box store, but luckily it's nearby. And then I can't remember if I checked a couple of other ones. A few people are making like a holiday-ish brew, but the first one, so going from lowest alcohol percentage up to highest, the first one is from Stillwell Brewing Company down there in Halifax, and it says the 12 degrees Czech style amber lager. And I know what you're saying. How is that Christmassy? And it was in the Christmas section of the NSLC. So I went, all right, and I looked really closely, and if you look really, really closely, that's the writing on the can. And the first thing it says is codenamed the 12 degrees of Christmas. I don't know why.
Well, Rebecca just pointed out as well that it's. I'm putting her glasses on. I hope they're quite at least seasonal. They're quite sort of pink and colourful. It's in a red can, so that's close. I mean, that's very Christmassy, isn't it? Red.
I suppose we've had red cans before.
Yeah.
But
when I read this on the shelf and it was a Christmassy thing and it said 12 degrees, I don't know how I kind of came to this conclusion, but I was thinking that was like a 12% really strong Christmassy ale. That's the way I read that. And because, like you, I saw it in the seasonal aisle, so I thought, wow, they're doing a 12% beer. And then, of course, it was only when I got it home and I read it properly, I was like, wow, that was a faux pas. It's really quite low for a Canadian beer, 4.4. That's almost low alcohol for a Nova Scotian ale.
Nearly.
I mean, I don't know how a Czech style amber lager equates to Christmassy ale. Hopefully they've thrown some herbs and spice, not herbs, but some spice, not herbs, definitely not sage and onion.
Let's put herbs and spices. If it was a Kentucky Fried Chicken Christmas beer, I'd be in. Rob Truscott is in the chat, and he points out it's a beer, it's Christmas, it's a Christmas beer. So,
well, fair enough. All beers are beers if you drink them around Christmas time. I like that.
So it's codenamed the 12 degrees of Christmas, our Czech style amber lager, that it might be in another language, Polomanf, or half dark lager, is warm and toasty while remaining crisp and sessionable. The ultimate lager for the colder months. Nadrasht.
That's obviously Czech.
Czechoslovakian cheers. Oh, no, sorry. Czech cheers.
I was going to say, you can't say Czechoslovakian
I don't think I can. How old am I? Man.
Take that back. You can edit that out.
Yeah, I will. I definitely will. Anyway, I like half dark lager. So we've had a few dark lagers, but an amber lager, I'm not so sure that we've had. We've had amber ales.
Yep.
So I guess the theme of this, it's not going to be sort of like nutmeg spicy or Christmas spicy. It's just, no, it smells like a beer. It smells tasty.
Sounds like a beer.
Sounds like a beer, apparently, as well. Is it going? Oh, yeah. Yours has gone crazy.
If you hold the can up to your ear, you can hear it say, I'm a beer. I'm delicious. Drink me.
Now, that's weird. Now, they're two exactly the same cans. One of them was refrigerated for a long time, and that was the one that Rebecca's just cracked. And the other one has been at room temperature until about 10 minutes before we went on, and that was my one. And my one is quite happily staying in the can, and her one has gone bananas, and it's all over the table. And it just so happens that just before we went on, I said, let's put a what's that called? A tea towel? Is that called a tea towel? What do we call that? What do you call it again?
These strange contraptions? Napkins?
A drying towel on the table, because we have a jigsaw puzzle half done. And I thought, if any of the jigsaw puzzle pieces get wet, as they have done before, they'll be about 5 times the size, and they won't fit into the little holes. We've done this several times. And it just so happens it was spilled, and look, all the pieces are dry as a result.
Never mind about keeping the house clean. Explain it. You hear about a 7.0 earthquake in the region, or a hurricane just come through. The first question is the jigsaw puzzle okay? My sister, wherever she is right now, she's feeling this as a question. This is a legitimate concern. First thing you ask, is the jigsaw puzzle okay?
The jigsaw puzzle's okay.
The jigsaw puzzle is okay. It's a beautiful, beautiful jigsaw puzzle. We Googled the lady that's done the artwork for it. Turns out she's quite a prominent artist in this media. Listen to me, in the UK, and she lives in Somerset, I think of Frome, and it's lovely birds in a tree. And it's lovely colours. Her name's Victoria Ball, and she's done lots of jigsaw puzzle artistry. You should check it. I'll send you the photograph when we finish it. It's such a gorgeous painting.
Does it not say on the box what the name of the painting is? Because I'm really hoping it's just called Lovely Birds.
No, it's called. Oh, yes, it is. It's called. It's Songbird's Tree. Is the name of the name of the.
She included a playlist in her.
Oh, she did.
In the box, where you download the QR code to Spotify playlists, which she paints to.
Yes.
So you could do the puzzle as you're listening to the music that she listened to while painting it.
Yes.
That's kind of neat.
Yes.
That's what we did.
It was 1 hour of music, and it was funny enough. It was some good English stuff, as well as there was the Joni Mitchell one, wasn't there? What's that called? Oh, Canada. What's that song called? Yes, I'm asking you. I could drink a cup of you or something.
Oh, I do like that song. That's a good one.
Right, and there was there was like Marvin Gaye on there. There was some American soul from the 60s. Really good playlist, 1 hour long. I'll send it to you. It's a pretty good driving playlist, and that was her music of choice while she's painting. I liked it.
I have a musical / Spotify anecdote that we'll hopefully get to if I remember. But for now, are you all set for this 4.4% Czech style amber lager? I'm looking forward to this. I think this is going to be really good.
We are. Merry Christmas to you, Ross, for next week. He's wearing just I like the colour of it.
Merry Christmas. Oh yes, it looks like yours looks downright purple, so well done.
Sure. It looks wonderful. Like a very dark ale. It's a lager, it's a dark lager. Smelly, peanutty.
Oh, that's
refreshing, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's got a funny bitter to it.
Huh. It's a nuttiness. It's a tiny nuttiness. I've smelled a little nuttiness. For a lager, that's got
some personality.
It does.
It's like a spicy lager.
A spicy lager. Well, I guess that's what Christmas does to lagers, isn't it? Gives them a bit of spice. I'm not getting a lot of spice from it.
No.
Personally, it's got a little bit. It's got something more than a regular crappy old lager. In my humble opinion,
the ultimate lager for those colder months.
Okay, because it's a bit richer and there's some taste to it, which I don't often get from lagers. It's Eastern European take on a lager, which is good.
I feel like I would skip the amber lager and go straight to the dark lager. We've had some Schwarzbiers. And they are a little stronger because it's the dark months, and it's just, we're getting close to the solstice. Yeah,
we are.
The 2 or 3 days away. Darkest night and whatnot. But
Ross, does it immediately smack you of Christmas drinking?
I mean, I'm wearing a Santa hat. I can see my reflection. Everything feels very Christmassy. My background is a little Christmas town and everything, but. Drinking this, I don't immediately think, Christmas.
I know, nor do I. You've done your nails specially for the occasion as well. I see, and they almost match your stick.
No, they're orange and purple. So I've chosen some very pagan colors for the Christmas season. But
show those again.
That's who the Christians stole the holiday from.
Orange and purple, isn't that Halloweeny traditional colours? Is that the pagan colours?
It might be a little bit. Listen, I found orange nail polish sitting next to a purple nail polish, so needs must. I did what I did what I could. I was limited.
Finish them up. Yeah. I do you like this? So do I. For lager, it's got some flavour to it. Some bit of bite. It
reminds me of hanging out in a beer garden in the summer.
Oh, nice. That's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
I'd rather be there than in mid-December, wouldn't you? Hanging out in a beer garden in the middle of Christmas. Yeah, I know.
You're dressed for it.
I can see myself enjoying this being set in front of me. Like if you trudge down to the pub, there's no one on the streets. You can just walk through. There's a snowstorm. you make it to the pub and everyone's open just because, but this is on, and you sit down and you've come in from the cold and you're just kind of shedding all the snowy stuff off, and clonk, there it is, boom. That would be good. I think that would be all right.
I would like when you've just described that rocking up to a pub in the cold snow. I want something thicker and altogether more welcoming than this.
Yes.
However, if this was the only thing available, I'd be perfectly happy to sit down and have several.
Yeah, it's way better than a Pilsner. It's better than a really hoppy IPA. It's got a nice malt body to it. I find it's just got that spice you mentioned, the nuttiness is more like a bitter to me. So there's sort of a spicy nut or a bitter nut kind of thing at the front, and then somewhere in the middle of the body is a bit more of a malt forward or sort of malt profile, and then the back end there's this neat little bitter. It sticks around. There is a bit of an aftertaste, but I would still call this really smooth because it doesn't bite, it lingers.
It's not. I quite find usually that lagers can be a little bit too effervescent for me, a little bit burpy. This doesn't have that. There's no real. It's not overcarbonated, isn't it? There's not a lot going on. It's more like a sort of less full-bodied English ale, if you will. It's a dark lager. I like it. It's.
If you told me this was either an ESB, I would say, well, yeah, okay, it's a little bit of it's like a weaker ESB.
Because they can have those slightly spicy notes to them as well. Those ESBs, you've got a little bit going on here. It's not. Yeah. It doesn't have as much as an ESB does, but it's perfectly fine, isn't it?
I would believe it. It doesn't have that lagery like high school bush party lager taste to it.
No, not at all.
Like Coors Light. And then
I've found over the years that Czech beers tend to agree with me, even their pilsners and their lagers. Czech lager. Oh, it gets a Czech mark. I like that. It's very clever, Rebecca. Check yourself. It gets a thumbs up from both of us. We like this, don't we?
Yeah, I have to say thumbs up as well. So six thumbs up for the Stillwell one. However, where do we land on Christmas theme?
If this is a wintry lager, because it's not the traditional sort of clean, crisp, cold,
summery, it's hot out, you're sweating, yeah.
Then I'll go with it. Who am I to argue that? Yeah, it's yours is cold. May I just try a tiny little bit of that, because I wonder if some of the flavour, as a result of it being much colder than mine, it's different. It's nicer cold, Rebecca says, weirdly. Try mine.
Refreshing.
Try mine. I think there's a little more. I think yours is too cold.
I think yours is too warm.
You think mine is too warm. So if we throw them both in together, there's more. Yeah, I think I prefer mine, and she prefers hers, but they are the same can. I like this. This is a solid dark lager for me. Plenty of flavour, not full-bodied. Would I buy a 6-pack?
On sale.
On sale.
On
Full
sale.
price.
Yep.
Go for something else.
But if it was on tap, I'd say, "Ooh, good, you've got that one. Bring it on." I think I'd do that.
Yes.
I'd be fine.
Did they say it was sessionable, Ross, on the back? Because at 4.4, it's not particularly strong. But 3 or 4, I mean, I think you'd still feel it.
It is warm and toasty while remaining crisp and sessionable. I think that is a very, very good can description. I think they
like that.
It is spot on with everything that they're trying to do.
For a lager, yes. Particularly, I can't session lagers. And the only one that I've found that comes anywhere close is that wonderful Tola Gold, which you recommended to me several years ago. And we've done that, have we not? We've done the 100-shot challenge, all of us. So that was pretty sessionable because we ended up having about 7 or 8 cans of it in about an hour and a half. That is, if there's going to be a sessionable lager, if this is going to call itself a sessionable lager, I ain't going to argue. No. I could have a few of these.
Same, absolutely. Yep, 6 thumbs up for that one. So,
cool.
Moving on. Breton Brewing. We've had this one in the past. They've got their Milk N Cookies Stout, 2.5 full words for you, coming in at 5.0%. I will try to read the tiny print on the side here. Enjoy the taste of holiday cheer this season with our delicious new Milk N Cookies Stout. Smooth and flavorful with a tasty hint of chocolate chip cookies. I feel like, even though it says new on the can, I think we've had this has been on the shelves for 3 years. I think we might have had this 2 full years ago.
Maybe the can is new.
No, the can looks very similar.
Oh.
The can looks very similar.
It
got a kind of green look.
It doesn't have a date written on it. It's just got a very complicated stamp on the bottom. So it was in the NSLC, so I have to assume it's new, stock.
Right. I'm pouring this. This has got a. Oh, look at that! It was just the first little bits, Rebecca.
Just the first pour.
Yeah. No, in fact, both of them. I'm pouring this. We're sharing all the cans henceforth, of which there are 3. You like my grammar there? That was very English. I'm pouring all 3 of these into 2 glasses. So we're sharing a can each. Sorry. We're sharing a can between us for the rest of the evening. That's not for any other reason other than I'm driving to the city in about 3 hours. No, it's because we only got 1 can of these, and we're fine with that. Because if we wanted to carry on afterwards, we would with something else. We've got plenty in the place for if we wanted to carry on. Look at the creamy head.
Oh yes,
this looks really good. How does yours look, Ross?
Mine looks excellent, and I'll tell you what, I got a whiff off of it, and it gives me a very smoky vibes. Very smoky. No sign of a milk or a cookie, but a very smoky stout is the scent that I'm getting off of this one. Sorry to alliterate.
2 years ago, I think we had this, didn't we? I think we shared it 2 years ago.
So.
And I've got vague recollections of me not being particularly impressed with it. I thought it was by the sounds of it, I thought, oh my God, I'm going to absolutely adore this. And then I had it. If I'm not mistaken, I was a little bit disappointed. I thought it could have been rather like what's the other one? The milk, the Garrison Moo. What was it called?
The Deja Moo, yeah.
Right. I was disappointed with that the first time I tried it as well. But subsequently, I tried ones afterwards, especially on draft, and I thought, I think I may have done this a disservice. So maybe I'm hoping that the same is going to be true of this particular stout, because I don't remember it. By the sounds of it, I remember thinking Milk and Cookies. That's going to be a lovely, sweet, rich, Christmassy affair, and I found it a little bit bland. I'm hoping that isn't the case. You've already tried it.
That's what I remember about it. I remember it being too sweet. Like it was sickly sweet. Where the cookie side of it just
like fake.
Yes, it tasted like that fake cookie taste you would get somewhere. But I'm only getting a smoky flavor out of this. It is delightfully dark. There's only a little bit of brown around the edge for that one. However, while I wait for the head on mine to calm down, you did bring up that we had lots and lots of Toller a couple of years ago, and that is something that has come up. I've started inviting people to our to our next attempt at the 100 shots of beer challenge, and I invited a friend, and he said, "Have you got a playlist, a Spotify playlist?" And I went, "No, huh?" And he said that back when he tried this challenge back in his youth, that someone had set it up. It was like a Century Club party challenge, and they'd set it up that he had a playlist of 1 minute of music at a time.
Oh.
Wow.
So I said, no, that's interesting. I said, no, we mostly just filled the time. We just had one person, poor Rebecca was over there counting down a minute every time, but we just filled it with trivia questions now and then. But
yes, and I remember thinking as I got more and more inebriated, my God, do I ever shut up? I kept saying, it was like I was like, 15 seconds, everyone. And it was like some kind of regimental sergeant major.
You were the only one who had someone who was timing, so it made sense.
Well, yeah, I suppose so. This smells really malty,
Yeah,
actually.
there's like a high smell like that.
Right, I'm not getting a sweetness of the smell. It's
No,
very malty.
I'm not getting any kind of milk or cookie. This does not
Nor am
smell
I,
like
yeah.
how I remember. So I'm
Okay.
all set. Are we ready?
Ja,
The Milk N Cookies Stout from the Breton. Right.
ja. What's working for Fröhliche Weihnachten. Merry
What?
Christmas.
Okay. All right.
That's Jack. I think that's it. Yeah. Cheers.
Mm. Definitely stout.
Very,
Okay.
I was gonna say, very stouty. But again, it's very dark.
Yeah.
Cookies. It's
There's
not...
kind of this chocolate hint, like a Kahlua hint. Like
Oh,
It's
okay. A
way
dark,
more
bitter.
subtle than 2 years ago. That's for sure.
Okay, well, it's a bitter. If there is chocolate there,
Yeah.
and by the way, I just had a chocolate peanut.
oh,
That didn't help.
Mm.
So that may have influenced as well. I'm not getting the sweetness again that I was hoping to get. It's the very, very dark. If you go into the store, you know that 90 or 100% cocoa bars you can get, where they're really bittery chocolates. You know, if it's going to be chocolatey, well, it doesn't say chocolate. It says Milk and Cookies.
Mhm.
So it's not necessarily telling you that it's laden with chocolate. Chocolate chip cookie. Is that what it says? Chocolate chip cookie on the can.
Tasty
Okay.
hint. It's got a hint of chocolate chip
Right.
cookies. And
I got a hint.
it's
You got
a
a
hint,
Yeah.
all right. I mean, I'd need to read it on the can. I don't think if someone dropped this down in front of me just as a pint and said, try that, I don't think I'd say, ooh, yeah, that's definitely chocolate chip cookies. I
Yeah.
don't think I'd say that.
It's not sweet. It's very, very.
It's
chocolate.
There is. It's a little smoky again. It's extremely malty, very malty.
this
It's
is it's like a really good oatmeal stout. This is sometimes the
There you
flavor
go.
that we're looking for in an oatmeal stout. This is
Yeah.
the grain, the body, the
we happen to have a
Yo.
home brew at the moment, a double oatmeal stout, do we not? And remember, you've got 2 bottles of it there, Ross.
Oh.
It's not a million miles away from that.
Yeah.
So stick one of those in the fridge and have that a little later on and compare it. It's I like it
Yeah.
because I love stouts. You like them too.
Yeah.
We all like stouts. And this is what, 5%, so it's not even a strong one.
no.
But I'd like it to be with the name that it has, description wise. Then is it
not-
doing what it says in the can?
It does say subtle.
Subtle.
Subtle
I got-
taste of chocolate chip cookies, and I agree, but I think it's also maybe too subtle.
I don't get cookies. I just get chocolate. Like I can
Yes,
get a.
there's a tiny little sweetness in there. But
Yeah.
as
don't-
compared to 2 years ago, where I wasn't sure I could finish it because it was just too sweet, too sugary. This is freaking delicious. This is
Yeah.
such a good stout. There's a good smoke and the body and the feel, and it's
It's a nice stout, but it doesn't taste like a seasonal stout.
no, it didn't. It didn't.
And if you are of that mindset that stouts are specifically for the winter colder months, and I know that some people are, which is why an awful lot of microbreweries won't even do stouts out of season. They just say, no, that's not the time you do it. We do those in the colder months. If you are of that mindset, then I want a stout, especially one with milk and cookies and Christmas hats and everything in front and
Yeah.
green and I want it to taste like then that they're sticking it to me for Christmas time. And it doesn't smack of a Christmassy beer to me. It's like like you said, a good malty, smoky, pretty good stout.
It's a delicious stout because do you know what do you know what this might be?
What?
Is this? No, it's Big Spruce I'm thinking of. That's the serial killer. What's Breton's stout? Breton Brewing. Breton Brewing.
You mean the regular one?
Yeah, if they've got one. I know they've got the Black Angus, the Tiny Angus. We've tried all of those. Breton Light, Breton Red, blah, 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 blah. They've got an Irish stout. I'm not sure we've ever tried just their basic Irish stout. But this
I like it. I like this, but it's not Christmassy.
it doesn't taste like an Irish stout. It tastes like an oatmeal stout. This is one of the best oatmeal stouts I think I've had. But
Yeah.
if you
Oh, I shouted then. Sorry about that.
So it's like oatmeal cookies.
Oatmeal cookies.
and
I like it.
oatmeal cookies.
They're not chocolate chip cookies, but oatmeal cookies.
Yep.
And with milk.
Oatmeal chocolate chip cookies.
But it's quite smooth. The milkiness, the creaminess of maybe of the milk comes through. It really is rather smooth.
It could
We don't
also
say that.
be a lactose stout, which they do sometimes with the milky milks.
I prefer it to the Stillwell for obvious reasons. I like a fuller bodied, darker ale anyway. Neither of them, though, so far are have me ringing the sleigh bells.
Not yet. Well, Rob in the chat is saying he's pretty sure that we're going to like the all lit up. Now it's interesting. Rob's saying that they all lit up, which we've had before, tastes like a candy cane.
Yeah.
I don't remember that. I just, again, remember it tasting really, really sweet, but I don't recall a peppermint to it. If you mean like the peppermint side of things.
When we knew that all lit up was coming up again, Rebecca was saying, "Oh yeah, we liked that one, didn't we?" I think we did, but I can't remember why.
I remember a nice spicy flavor, like nice Christmassy spices. I don't remember a mint because I feel like if there were mint around my beer,
wouldn't like
I
it.
would not
You
like
don't like those. There was what's the name? Roofhound and that After Eight minty beer stouty thing they did a couple of years ago. You didn't go for that at all, did you? Mint and beer don't do it for you.
No, they don't.
No,
They don't go hand in hand.
I don't. I'm okay with it. I'll try anything.
Well, we'll see.
We will. Yeah.
This is a 2 thumbs up for me.
2 thumbs up because for this Milk and Cookies Stout.
I think
Christmassy.
It's excellent.
It's milk and oatmeal cookies.
Milk and oatmeal cookie stout. It's in the wrong can. That's what it is. They threw it in the wrong can. It's not really a Christmassy one, but it's perfectly delicious.
Well, Rob's pointing out there are variations every year, and that's I think why it was more fun to do this, because we've started doing this with the pumpkin ales the same way, in that they seem to change pretty often. And honestly, this is the real pain, is trying to drink Nova Scotia Dry. Whenever you think that you've tried everything, they say, "Oh, well, that's not the same recipe we had 2 years ago." So this is definitely a different recipe. It's a different beer than we tried 2 years ago. I found a blog post that said that I had the one for the 2023, so last year's Milk and Cookies, back by popular demand. It's brewed with cookies from our friends at a place called Not Just Cakes, lactose sugar to create a symphony of bittersweet chocolate. So I think that's the milk thing is under there. Toasty undertones, pouring a dark brown. This is pouring way more than a dark brown, so I think they went even darker 2024 than 2023. But I'm appreciating, this is the fun that I felt this year would bring, where we got to try a lot of the Christmas beers and the winter beers, the seasonal beers that we've tried before, but it's year to year. Yeah, you mess with it. Rob himself is saying that he's tweaked the recipe a bit for this naughty or nice sort of.
That's the whole idea, is it not? And you get feedback from your customers, etc. Or you look at it yourself and say, you know what? Maybe this time we can add a little something or take a little something away. And they're doing it. Clearly, they're doing it in smaller batches than the big boys are, but they've still got they're 43,000 litre or they're not, but they've got some good size tins that they're brewing this stuff in tins. I don't know. Yeah,
put it in the tin. Put it in the tin. Yeah. So,
but the fact is, they can add what they want and take away what they want and try it and go, yeah, that's our variation on this beer this year. And then next year, of course, it could be quite different.
Put it in a
tin. Throw it in a tin.
You can even make a batch of it and then taste it and then say, you know what we should add next year? Candy canes. That could be a fun thing. There's an experimentation. This is the part of cooking that I really like. I don't make chili the same way twice.
No.
If I become a beer maker, I think I'm too much of a experimental perfectionist. I'd never be satisfied with anything. And I definitely would not write anything down.
Isn't that what it goes from a craft to a machine?
Isn't that when it goes from a craft to a machine?
Yeah, like if you're just doing
if you're just repeating the same thing every time.
Then it's factory.
Yeah, no, that's the definition of insanity.
they would be doing that, but a craft brewer would do exactly the same process, wouldn't he?
That's what I mean, but you're not adding any more art or.
Oh, I see. Not tweaking. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I want to put a little zoo.
A little je ne sais quoi into it. Yeah,
you're just doing, now it's a format and it's a formula, and you're just like.
But if you hit on the perfect formula and everyone says that's the greatest beer we've ever had, let's call it the Russian Imperial Stout by Bad Apple Brewery, you would not want to tweak recipes like that because you know that they are
popular. But then I'm talking about in the making of it, though. And in the making of it, then does it just become like formula when instead it used to be something you were making?
Yeah, because it's a passion.
I imagine like a potter who used to use their hands and make this thing, and it was like they created this art, but then everybody thought, I want one of those mugs, and then now all they do is mug.
You're just an Etsy store now.
Mass produced.
Absolutely.
So then, is there any more art in it? Or is there any more craft in it? Or is it just like...
That is what took me from my initial interest in craft beer was all about, I found one I love, I want to keep drinking it, and then becoming, I guess, slightly disappointed sometimes, even year to year, and saying, pumpkin ale wasn't quite as good as it was last year. And you think, this doesn't taste as good. Oh yeah, we changed the recipe a little bit. Now we go, or where's that one that I loved? Where's that English ale? Saltbox made an English ale that was amazing, and they don't make it anymore. And now all it is to me is a memory. But I've tried to change my mind into someone who sort of, I'm wistful for the great that it was, but I'm curious about the different that it will be.
Yeah.
About 30 odd years ago, my dad and I stopped at a pub in up the A1 somewhere in Hertfordshire, and we had, for the very first time in the early 90s, we stopped off and we thought, what's this? Oh, we'll try a pint of that, please. And I'm going to do a stout yeoman line. And he poured us, because we thought, that sounds like a wonderful beer. Let's try that. And it was Old Moreland's Old Speckled Hen, on draft about 1992-ish, right? And we both said, as we sat there and drank a pint of it, and we started to think, my God, this stuff is unbelievably good. And it was, I think, about 5.4 at the time. Old Moreland's Old Speckled Hen. We said at the time, this is the nicest ESB stroke spiced English old ale what we'd ever had. And my dad has drunk beer since he was about 3 months old. Now, fast forward about 20 years, I'm here in Nova Scotia, and I'm like, wow, in the liquor store, they sell Old Speckled Hen. I don't believe it. I'm going to buy a can. And immediately I thought, it doesn't taste anything like I remember. It's perfectly fine. But in the meantime, it had been bought up by a big company in the UK. And as a result, they changed the recipe. They even sold us themselves, so that they streamlined it and brought it into a market there that more people can enjoy as a result. So what they did was they took down the percentage. They maintained exactly the same name in the same can, more or less, but they changed the recipe. They took out some of the spices that were distinctive and made the beer what it was. And they sold it to a much wider audience, that people that aren't ready for something that tastes as uniquely wonderful as it did, but they end up selling it and sending it to all points, north, east, south, and west, and people bought it internationally, the imported version of a beer that, at the end of the day, didn't taste anything like as good as it used to. So you do, and this is a perfect example of sacrificing a quality for quantity sold, because they know that they can appeal to the middle of the road people that just want to drink a cold beverage rather than something that's distinctive and flavorful.
But I bet the shareholders were really pleased.
Rebecca just brought Bob Dylan into that equation. I totally understand what she's getting at. Which you can explain that to your probably on a late.
When he picked up the electrical guitar at the folk festival. Okay, yeah.
By the name, it is, but it's not
Bob Dylan that I like.
He's not doing the same thing. Rob brought up.
when I'm talking again, I'm just gonna finish this right off at the end. I said a little while ago I talk too much, and I do. But when I found out the Gravedigger was back in the stores again in October, I was like, yes, Gravedigger's back, the best. You alluded to it earlier on about the pumpkin spice ales. I thought that's just the best. We both enjoyed that. Rebecca loved it. We couldn't get enough of it last year, and it was back in the stores, and I was like lauding it. And I had it this year, and I was like, oh, yeah, it's still good. It's still really good, but there's something. It's just as good as it was last year.
That's too bad.
It was wonderful last year, and this year they must have just slightly tweaked it. So it would, and I'm like, this isn't quite as good as I remember it. Shame.
So Rob brought up in the chat that not every difference is a step in a positive direction as well. Sometimes it's a step backwards. And you brought up that and definitely in your story there, but. This happened when we were talking to Stephen Heisler of Big Spruce, because we had the Tag Your It IPA. And I remember this story very vividly, where we said, oh, okay. And he says, yeah, we put a new shark on the label every year. And then he goes into the fact that it's almost a completely different recipe. It's a completely different IPA. And I said, then why is it still called the Tag Your It? Like, this is the best part about being a craft brewery. Is if you want to change the recipe to your IPA, one year it can be the Uncle Fester's Bald Spot IPA, and then the next year you can say, oh, we tweaked it a little bit, and we've tweaked it, oh, this is the Leopard's New Stripy Coat IPA or something like that. And you can change the name and mix it up. I mean, I don't know how much each label costs. So if you do make too much of a and you want to change it every year, maybe that's a whole bunch, because if a Super Bowl commercial costs $30 million, then it's got to be close to that for every time you print up a batch of labels. Rob could be the best person to answer that question. But speaking of Rob, we do move on to the Great Roads Brewing Naughty or Nice Double Chocolate Stout, which Rob did admit to that it is there's a variations. He tweaked it a little bit, and then he goes on to say sometimes tweaks are negative. So I'm assuming that it's going to be a tweak and a positive. Oh my goodness, Rob, could you put slightly less? I couldn't get the lid open.
I think the can is already a positive. It's an upgrade. The can. I remember the can from last year.
I remember the can. I'm going to shed various items of clothing here. I think I started off far too far. I've got this lovely hat on.
Yes. Exactly.
But it's very, whoops, that went on the carpet. And I've got the fingerless gloves on. So what says like Dickensian sort of 19th century Christmas more than fingerless gloves? But it's like 100 degrees in here. I went with it, but I'm going to have to take that off. And the scarf may have been overkill as well, so I'm going to have to take the scarf off. But if I take the scarf off, well, the hat's got to go too, because flipping heck, it's warm in here. I tried my best to keep it seasonal, but now it's just run regular. Oh, yeah.
What you need to do, you need to get yourself to the dollar store for some of these cheap Santa Claus hats, because these do not keep you warm in the wintertime. And I have tried wearing a Santa hat out in snow or anything like that, and I have been cold.
Yes, well, you've got no hair, Ross. Sorry to sort of bring up your follicle challenge, but you don't have anything on your head, do you, to keep you warm? So
I suppose that's true. That's quite true.
No, you should do what I do and maybe put a wig on. This is what I do, and it keeps me warm.
Wigs. I wear them now and then. I put them on for different characters and doing that kind of thing. But the original reason that I cut all my hair off is because it was the 90s. I had grown my hair long because I fancied myself Kurt Cobain or Gavin Rossdale, whatever. And then at one point I was looking at my hair, and so it was parted from down the middle here. I had the little widow's peak, and it was parted down to the side. But then if I looked really carefully up along here, so the widow's peak was getting peakier and peakier until finally I sort of stared, and you could see my forehead skin through the strands of hair, and I went, I have a comb over. I have, the definition of a comb over and the beginnings of a really good comb over. And I went, nope, gone. It's got to go.
Yeah.
I am not going to do this. I am not going to have dishonest hair. I'm not going to do it.
Well, when you were in, I mean, you've been in a couple of plays in the last 5 or 6 years where you've needed to grow your bont's hair a little lot, and of course, as a result, of course, it does highlight the fact that you don't have a big head of hair as a result. But that first time I saw you in when we were in Thingy together, The Odd Couple.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, that was a good one. That was great. There was a bit of a comb over going on there at the time. It was.
It was all the way around to the back. Yeah, it was shiny. Tried
that
growing
was something
my hair.
else. But Rob has not shortchanged us in the amount of 473 milliliters that you can get in this can. This thing is absolutely lit.
Mine had 474 milliliters in it. That is definitely sure.
Yeah.
Smells nice.
Smells nice.
It do. It's still not quite doing now this is a double chocolate stout, but am I still missing the sweetness you would assume?
Is it going to be a bitter chocolate?
I think so. I mean, I am getting a bit of a sweet off of the smell. And I seem to recall drinking a copious amount of this because of
the sweetest thing. That's a song by
U2. Yeah.
U2. Yeah. Right. I beg your pardon. It's not. Wow.
Who'd you say?
The sweetest thing that I've ever tried in a can was apart from those things we had from Two Crows a year or so ago, but the most sweetest and deliciousest thing is the Nanaimo by Propeller. Which was all over the place last year. We went and bought a ton of them, and I said, and it was 10%, and it was like eating a Christmas pudding. No, it wasn't. It didn't have any of that Christmas puddingy. It was like eating, funny enough, a Nanaimo bar. Now, that was so sweet, yet so easy to drink. I want there to be something available out there. He's throwing the peanut butter cup.
This might be this year's Nanaimo.
It might be.
The peanut butter propeller.
I don't think I've had the peanut butter.
There was the peanut butter. That was the
one by
Upstreet.
Not Upstreet. It was by not North Brewing. The little one in the bottle, and they folded.
Yeah.
Right. What was that called? The peanut thingy.
The small bottles.
Yes, the small bottle one.
Off track. The Illuminati. Peanut butter.
Quite delicious. Now the Nanaimo was almost. It was. You know, you tend to get two seasonally Christmas style beers. One, if they're going to be stouts. One, they're going to be really spicy, and there's a St. Peter's from St. Austell's in there. I've got a British one that's also in the NSLC. They're spicy ales, and they are very, very Christmassy to me. They've got the spices that come fruit cakes that you might get at Christmas time, a figgy pudding, that kind of stuff. Or you go the other way and you make something incredibly sweet. Now, but if they're sweet, then quite often I can think, I can't drink too much of this because I'm going to throw up. It's so sweet and cloying.
Ross found the Nanaimo very sweet.
Well, I didn't. And you and I absolutely adore the Nanaimo.
Do you have a peanut butter one?
I do. He gave me a peanut butter stout earlier on.
You're trying it next week?
I think we are.
Okay.
Does this have?
It's got quite a high bar.
I am getting a bit of it. It's more of a.
Smells sweet.
I get a little bit of sweet. You really have to.
There's more than there is. There was more than there is to the Milk and Cookies, weirdly, and you'd think that would be a sweeter thing.
But because double chocolate stout, this one is dark, beautifully dark. Ooh, it's dark. I love it.
You can't see that one.
No, you can't.
No.
I think my foray into finding beers, and especially craft beers and different things, as soon as someone showed to me the first of the double chocolate stout, I was okay. I will have all of that for the rest of my life. Just keep it. So,
best of brews, I think, is that you can still brew yourself if you can find them locally. That it's a craft brewing home brew kit. Festa Brews, they also double chocolate stout at
Ooh.
obvious time of the year. Kind of, they threw them in at the fall so you could brew it in time for Christmas. I had several of those maybe 10 years or so ago, and they were really, really good. Are you getting a big sniff of that, Rebecca?
No, I had a big taste.
A big taste.
Oh, well, then we need to get to the taste so we can catch up to Rebecca here. Cheers.
All right. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. I said bye-bye. Bye.
Mm.
Uh-huh.
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 Oh.
Nice.
Now, this is a 6.5.
That's a bit boozy, isn't it? It's thick. It's definitely more full-bodied. It's a little bit boozy. You can taste. You can taste the alcohol in this one. I'm saying yes.
Yeah, sometimes you can taste one where it tastes like someone has poured a little shot of whiskey in there somewhere.
Maybe a little bit of Bailey's or something in there. I'm not quite sure.
But the thickness of the double chocolate, I think, gives it that body, that smooth, that velvetiness going down.
Velvety. I like this. Very
rich.
Mm-hmm.
It's more of a rich sweetness than like a milk chocolate. It's more of a dark chocolate with the velvety smooth.
Definitely double chocolatey.
But then again, it is at least 1.5% stronger in its alcoholic content. It's altogether a richer, thicker, stronger stout than the last one.
This is going This is going to happen numerous times, but you mentioned something just before we had that sip, and I had a continuation, not even an anecdote, but something actually applicable. I was going to sound loquacious as all get out, but now I can't remember what I was going to say. What are we talking about? Don't know. That's fine. This is...
You mentioned earlier on maybe Brittany might try a couple of these. They're not sours, but they're not particularly sweet either.
No, and I feel like she gets into the thematic stuff. She'd like a good pumpkin ale, and she likes a good chocolatey stout. This one I feel is a little subtle on the chocolatey stout. Rob is asking me what the batch number is on the bottom. Do you want the batch or the date? I'll give you both. Great Britain 24, GRB-024, and it says the 29th of October 2024 is when this one was canned. Ian, what have you got on the bottom of yours? It should be not far off because I bought them at the same time. Same. October 29th. Cool. Yep. Cool. But
that is good.
I
love
it. It feels like, and okay, how can I put this? Where if you're gonna make a chocolatey ale, I feel like the amateur method of doing that is just going full on sweetened chocolate, but this is it feels more like a grown up velvety. I mean, we've mentioned velvety, we've mentioned rich, flavored, rather full bodied, but not overwhelming.
Definitely.
My dad would like it. My dad would like that.
It is smooth. It's balanced.
Through.
So nice.
It's still there. It's coated my mouth as well. It doesn't have, that it was. I said it was a little boozier. However, it's not doing my throat when I'm like, oof. Like Ross, in your collection now, in both our collections, from Millstone. Millstone? Yes, Millstone.
Yes.
Are the two amazing things that they've got at the moment. So I've got a couple of bottles of those, and I tasted the whiskey one going down my throat. It was coating my. That's one. I mean, that's a different thing altogether. That's 9%. It really is. This doesn't have that, but it does definitely taste like a strong ale, but it's still really smooth and rich and very fine, very well balanced and full of flavor. It's not the sweetest thing again, so you're not like.
It's not too sweet, but
it's not cloying.
It's chocolatey, but it is not
subtle.
Yeah,
subtle chocolate.
It's really nice.
If someone, Ross, if our lady is coming around again saying, "Would you like another one of those?" I'll ask you. Oh yeah, cheers, bring it on.
I don't know. Yeah. But then you sort of say, "I'm driving home." What's the percentage on that one again? Ooh, 6.5.
First one, I would have another one. only one.
Only one.
Other
You'd
one.
have 2 cans. We're only having half a can each.
No.
Could you have two
I could
2
have
pints
2
of that? Yeah,
That's it.
that would be done.
Do you have
3.
cops?
Yes, that
Do you have
would
cops
take
in
you
the
an hour
back?
and a half, wouldn't it? So we'd be there by the fire at an English country pub. I don't know why I'm taking this immediately over the pond. This is Nova Scotian craft brewing, but I've immediately thrown it over the pond and sit there on in Lincolnshire.
Nicer.
The pubs are nicer.
That's what I was going to say. You mentioned kits. Here's the short story. My mother reaches out and says, "What shall I get you for Christmas?" And I said, "I don't know, Mom. I don't really need, I don't need things, stuff, whatever."
Yeah.
And I said, "Ooh, do you know what? Brittany got me a beer kit last year, and it was great. I had a great fun with it. I could go for another one of those." She says, "Well, send me the thing," and so she went to a few of the places in the city. She's an HRM. And she said, I'm looking for beer kits. So she tried wine kits and Noble Grape and this and that. But I asked, because I've got the thing, I've bought the pot to do the mash, to do the wort and everything myself. I said, look, just ask them about a grain kit. Make sure it's a full grain kit. None of the stores have a full grain kit. None of them.
In the city?
Yeah. So she calls up and she said, they don't have one. And I said, well, I'll find out from Brittany. She said, all right, get Brittany to order one and then I'll pay her. And so it's all this whole mix around. So my mother is getting me a thing. And so Brittany sends me, I wish I could find it. She sends me a link to a bunch of kits on this thing. The place that she got the Irish Stout that we made. She says, pick one. And I'm scrolling through, and it says, an IPA. Oh, that would be interesting. And it says, oh, yeah, the Irish Stout. Oh, we tried that. Oh, the double chocolate stout. Ooh. Oh, the Imperial Brown Ale. Ooh. The Scotch Ale. The Imperial Scotch Heather. Oh, the English bitter, the English peculiar. So I think, if I remember correctly, the one that I finally chose, I want to try them all. I want to make them all. And there's so many exciting different styles, and I don't know anything about how to make different styles, but I'm just gonna follow the ingredients on the box. I think
you get a North American lager.
I think I chose. I wish I could remember what I chose. I think I chose a New England IPA.
Oh, okay. Just because you've slowly come around now.
I've really come around to it, and because one of the ones was I will never try to make a West Coast IPA because. But the New England IPAs, but the other one that I was really tempted by, I almost got the black IPA. That was an option. But
are they all by the same company?
They seem to be by this one company. Yeah, the one that we made, here.
That's amazing. Well, then do me a favor, Ross. Keep the name, because when I'm in a situation where we can start brewing ourselves again, once we've got the premises to do that. I might just look at that again, doing it from the grain again, rather than just doing from the kits when I haven't got the room.
It seems it's a little more fun. Like
it is.
And here's the best. Totally. Well, not the best part, but the failures. I don't want to say failures, but I think it was because I didn't keep it in a warm enough environment. You remember how you were saying, "Oh, was it bubbling?" And I'm like, "No," and it just was not bubbling. And then we added everything else. I am fairly convinced that the Irish Stout, the kit that we made from I can't remember the name of the company, but the one that we made, and we didn't measure because we had a hard time. I now have the correct hydrometer and whatnot. The measurement of the alcohol percentage, I'm fairly certain that the beer we made is less than a 4.0.
Oh, really?
It's such a low, because I have had, so one of those bottles that I gave you, I have had one of those to myself in an evening.
And you didn't feel anything?
Nothing. And it's the equivalent of like 3 pints.
You have a tester.
No, that was it. The hydrometer was that. By the way, was it supposed to be 5%, Ross, or was it?
I think it was supposed to be like 4.5 to 5.5. I think.
Yeah. So come on. When Ross has the green screen going on, but the red hat, for some reason, the red part of it, when the red part of it disappears, it looks like he's wearing. With the little white ball, it's like he's like Swedish Helga. Wait for it. Go on now, just slowly. Don't Just keep going until you turn it, and then there he is. He's like he's got a little ponytail thing going on there. It looks like a little. I love this.
Me too. It's beautiful.
We didn't mark the other ones. I know we gave them thumbs up.
It's all about the thumbs up this year. Rob saying that he played with the mouthfeel and the carbonation level this year.
The mouthfeel, it's just coating. It doesn't go down my throat and go, oh my God, that's really strong.
Mouthfeel is divine.
Lovely. Coating it and smooth.
Doing all the right things. Thanks for hopping in, Rob. It always good to talk to you, and we'll reach out to you in future as well to find out what's going on. We had the blueberry wheat recently.
And two toes.
Two thumbs and two big toes and two big Christmas trees. Although it's again, even though the can is very Christmassy, and I know I'm going to go over it again. That people say it's a stout, therefore we hold it off to the Christmas time or the cold.
Yeah, it's a dark of the season.
It's just a really wonderful, full-flavored, full-bodied, delicious, creamy, thick, and tasty stout.
To be honest, the chocolate side of it, I'm not fully feeling. For a double chocolate stout, it is super delicious.
It's delicious.
But if someone says this is double chocolate stout, I would sort of really?
I'm getting chocolate. I'm definitely getting chocolate, man.
This is my this year's Nanaimo.
That's your this year's Nanaimo. It doesn't have the sweetness of Nanaimo. It's like a darker chocolate then. It is chocolatey, but I guess we shouldn't be you shouldn't be reading too much. Double chocolate, you don't want it to go, oh my God, that's so chocolate.
It is double chocolate for me.
Oh, there we go.
Super double
chocolate. Rob says we discussed this. The reality is it's a stout we come out with for Christmas. And you don't want to add chuck some Robertson's barley candy in there. It's a bitter dark chocolate. Read the can. I did read the can.
We love this.
Oh my God, I forgot to read the can. So, Great Roads, Naughty or Nice, which we already opened and drank. Santa's go-to brew for checking it twice. Naughty or Nice pours a deep dark brown with a tan head. A perfect holiday pick-me-up with flavors of dark chocolate, coffee, and a slightly roasted finish. Full-bodied, malty, and a touch of sweet. Our rich stout will help make your season merry. You know what? Yeah.
That was all there.
That was it. Flavors of dark chocolate. Yes, we talked about that. Coffee is in the roast, so slightly roasted finish.
Yep.
Full bodied.
Yeah, basically.
Oh yeah.
Malty, touch of sweet.
Big time.
Our rich stout. So the rich is even on there.
Oh. Yeah. Yeah, we kind of checked all that earlier on, other than just like we did the Czech lager. Yeah, we checked all those boxes, so therefore, did everything it said on the tin. And we loved it. Delish. Oh, but there's another one. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. This is going to be quite different because this is Ross, this is not a stout. This is a festive strong ale. This is what I'm expecting the spices and would be in a festive strong ale. Traditionally,
it's supposed to be minty.
Well, that's what I'm hearing from you. That it's going to be pepperminty or whatever it is. So it could be like, what do they call those little stick things with the
chicken bones?
No, not chicken bones. The things with the hooks on them that you can hang from your tree.
Canes.
Candy canes. Is this going to taste like candy canes?
You're so British sometimes. How do you not know what a candy cane is?
Don't know if it's British, Ross. I think it's
That's just a lack of. What are those peppermint hooks you see all the time in the Noel films? On the bottom, it does say the 10th of October, 2024. So this is this year's, all lit up. Doesn't say anything on the can. I will look it up.
Can't read that.
All too well. Enter. Here we go. Naughty and spiced, this winter brew will keep you warm and dreamy even when it's cold outside, baby. That's the same one as years and years ago. Because I remember saying baby in the exact same unimpressed way.
I like the fact that they said spiced. Because if we've just had the sort of sweeter variation on a Christmas theme, which I'm also totally involved with the spiced.
Did you read the ingredients?
Yeah, well, when I'm thinking of oh God, look, I've been here 16 years and I still harken back to British style for seasonal ales. I do like spicier seasonal ale. A British bitter or a festive ale has to have some spices for me. And even though I love these chocolatey stouts and sweet stouts, I just adore them. To me, the taste of Christmas is more of a spiced ale. It doesn't necessarily have to be a stout. A spiced English ale to me is what I look forward to every Christmas time, and did for 30 odd years before 40 years before I came here.
The Garrison All Lit Up Festive Strong Ale, 7.0%. This is the 2024 version, despite the fact that they have not updated the description on their website. But on the side, sometimes it does say ingredients, and it usually says hops, water, yeast, barley. Boom, that's it. You get 4 things. But listed in the ingredients, water, barley, malt, hops, and then it goes on, demerara sugar, raisins, spices, and laurel leaves.
Wow.
So, the ones that, and I believe, did I get to use this word before? It's one of my favorite words. The laurel leaves, as similar to the ones that festooned the head of one Julius Caesar.
Yeah, absolutely.
His head was positively festooned with laurel leaves, don't you know?
Yeah, they did like it, the old Romans, didn't they? They were quite fond of the old laurel leaves. What were the leaves that Adam hung from his nether regions?
Why do I know this? Fig.
Fig leaves, were they? Oh, okay, fair enough.
It was a fig leaf that covered up his, what's a polite word for it? Wang.
His wang. It wasn't something that covered up his
chilly willy.
Yes. Is on the all.
I don't think a laurel leaf would have done it.
Okay.
He had to upgrade to fig.
I do like it. Naughty and spiced, this winter brew will keep you warm and dreamy, even when it's cold outside, baby. You read that. Now, I kind of thought they were going to finish that off. If you read it now, naughty and spiced, this winter brew will keep you warm and dreamy. There needed to be like a da-da-da, ba-ba-ba-ba, da-da-da-da, and creamy. It felt like there was a poem there, and it just kind of tailed off and said, even when it's cold outside, baby. Let's go with it. I'm looking forward to this.
How many seconds after having consumed 3 beers can we complete this? Naughty and spiced, this winter brew will keep you warm and dreamy.
Mm-hmm.
Even when it's cold outside, baby. It's the percentage keeps you steamy. I don't know. Hang on.
The percentage keeps you steamy.
No, that's getting into that's getting a little too specific. You wanted a bit more poetic and romantic, don't you? Naughty and spiced, this winter brew will keep you warm and dreamy. What rhymes with dreamy?
Well,
creamy, steamy.
It does, and I think if we're going to look at this as being a sort of a bit of a 2-week assignment, I'm pretty sure by the time the next one of these rolls by, and we're also trying some wintry themed beers, both of us could have come up with something better than the percentage is steamy. I'm sure.
I was trying to challenge ourselves to come up with something in the moment, as we are very spontaneous.
Spontaneity is awesome, but you failed miserably. So give yourself a little more time, and we'll come up with something better than that.
Speaking of someone who performs in improv shows, I do take that.
That's
quite to heart.
Right. Don't cry. I don't want to leave you in tears this evening. This is supposed to be a jovial occasion.
It's Christmas.
It's Christmas. Okay.
Is like.
What's the smell?
This is like surprising smell.
This is reminding me of what it smelled like 2 years ago. In fact, I recognize this smell.
Can you smell the spices?
I smell the spices, but I can also smell a little bit of peppermint.
A peppermint?
Yes.
Okay. I can it's so, you know, when I think of Christmas, I was just saying I want some spices, and immediately it's throwing them up my nose.
I feel like it's very spicy smelling, like almost like a pumpkin ale. But they maybe because somebody mentioned candy canes, and I was like, can I smell candy canes?
Can you smell it?
I'm getting just a lot of that raisiny, malted sweet up front is what I'm getting.
Yeah.
Oh God, that smells heavenly. It smells like slightly Christmas woody, and that's a wonderful thing.
7.
Yeah,
the ABV is 7.
7.
7.0.
We did hold off on the cinnamon explosion from North Brewing, didn't we? Maybe that's a good thing. Yes, the cinnamon bun.
We'll do pine trees and cinnamon next week. It'll be fun.
Yes. It smells amazing. It looks like an English style bitter. It smells and looks very much like an English style festive ale, which is why I'm extremely excited to try this. Cheers. Merry Christmas.
Wow. Could be a pumpkin ale.
Rebecca.
Very spicy.
Rebecca.
I'm sorry.
You think?
Yeah.
You think the spice is there?
It's
not pumpkin.
We've had the conversation about Robertson candy before.
Yes, toy candy.
There's no pumpkin spices there. That's I'm not getting that at all. You are. You think there is.
This is the spiced Robertson candy ale.
Yeah.
Some mintiness.
Toy candy.
There is a mintiness.
The barley sugar keeps coming through. Ooh, it's at the tail end. It's sticking around.
Like a chicken.
Chicken bone.
No, the chicken.
It's a little chicken bony. It is.
There is definitely some slight mintiness, just a touch of peppermint.
The clove.
That's the clove. That's true.
That's lovely.
The sweetness of this, I think, was more pronounced 2 years ago when we had it, and I didn't like it. This is.
Yeah.
Oh, there's definitely some peppermint there. But it's so subtle. You don't want it to be minty, like you said. If you're having a bit, mint shouldn't be near beer. So you said that, and you were like, because you were like, I don't want my beer to be minty. There is just a soupçon of mintiness there, but it's delicious, right? There is still some spices I'm trying to pick up, and you said that's probably the clove that I've got a hint of there. Is there a slight barley?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's yeah.
The toy candy.
Oh, is that what that is? Okay, fair enough. I don't know what a toy candy is.
Like
What's
barley sugar.
Oh, barley sugar. Fair enough. Yes, that's what I'm getting. Okay.
I feel like I need to buy you some Robertson candy.
Barley sugar when you're going into the air. Yes, when you want to. What we used to do in the 70s before they introduced things like, I don't know, earplugs or morphine or things that would maybe put you under before you went up. Barley sugars. Everyone said, "Oh, take some barley sugars when you're traveling to Tunisia." And things like that in the 70s.
No. To answer your question, no one has ever prescribed barley sugar for an anesthetic.
No, as an anesthetic, to suck on them before you went up in the air to stop your ears from popping.
Well, we used to take them on drives to settle the stomach.
Settle your stomach. Okay,
Yeah.
well, that's what barley sugar.
Oh.
Okay, we used to suck on them. No, whatever, because
And
that was
they're
only
that
things available.
color.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that is.
This is a festive. Oh yeah.
I was about to say, I think of the 4, this one is the only one that I would like. If you put on a blindfold and tasted each one of these 4,
And said which one's a Christmas ale?
is
Yeah.
that one. Now,
Yeah.
having said that, the other 3 I would drink year round. They are excellent.
Yep.
Excellent. But
But
this
different
one
we-
is kind of this reminds me of something. And if you say, is it Christmas? Oh, you know what? It is Christmas. This one is very Christmassy flavored. This one just basically tastes like Christmas round and round.
It just tastes like Happy Christmas all round.
It does. That Garrison brewery, they might just make it. They just might come through this. They're
Well,
okay.
they have made it.
They're a micro brewery.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought you meant they. Okay.
Yeah.
If we twist their arm enough, they'll make an all lit up ale.
Do you think it's necessarily the best beer we've tried? This is it. But it's a Christmas ale. Therefore, if I want a Christmas ale, like you just said, this one is the one that says Christmas.
This is your Christmas ale.
It ticks all the boxes for a Christmas ale.
But
there you go.
This honestly, the Breton Milk N Cookies, I want this oatmeal stout in my life all the time. I want this double chocolate stout all the time. The amber, the Czech style amber lager was amazing. The sessionable, just slightly off color, nice little amber lager. It was delicious. It was wonderful. None of them made me feel all simply having wonderful Christmas time until this one, and this one tastes like the season.
Yeah. It's got Christmas all wrapped up.
And fall.
And fall because Rebecca thinks it tastes like a pumpkin ale. It doesn't. It doesn't have the same.
You know what's funny? If you served this as hey, this is our pumpkin spice ale, I would think of a reason to make this taste like pumpkin and say, yeah, that's all right.
Yeah.
You think then if we turn that glass over and dipped it in maple syrup
and put it in
and then said
pick the pumpkin spice ale, and you would pick
it's because of spices. That you would say if you drunk all four of them and said which one's the pumpkin spice ale, then it would be this one. Yeah. But of course you know it's not, because it doesn't have it has spices, but to me this doesn't have a pumpkin-y spice taste to it. It has more of a Christmassy, and you can't, for some reason, I can't explain the difference. They're nuanced. Yes, they are, but there's differences.
This
close for sure.
Tastes like an imperial pumpkin ale. That's what I'm going to give it.
All right.
A festive strong ale. It doesn't say what fest.
I love it. I do love it, and it's
all lit up. You can light up pumpkins. They're called jack-o'-lanterns. No, wait.
It ain't a session ale again. It's a little sweeter. It is a little sweet, and I do like it. I would quite happily have 2 pints of this at Christmas time in a pub. People would be loving this. You'd be like, get your Christmas ale inside you. This is some good stuff.
2 7.0s. Are you sure?
It's sweet. It's quite sweet. But it's got all the spices necessary to distinguish it as a Christmas ale rather than your regular English style bitter.
I am leaning towards Rebecca's summation that it isn't quite quintessentially Christmassy enough that it could be spiced on a pumpkin scale to be more like a pumpkin ale. The season that we are drinking it in definitely gives it a definition.
Yeah, it's still good.
You think
it's delicious. It's wonderful. But honestly, I think they should sell this in 2 cans. I think at Christmas, at Halloween, or in around like the harvest season, they say, Garrison, we've got because the Oh My Gourd harvest ale
I was about to ask
is quite good.
Thing. I was about to ask, what is the Garrison big selling pumpkin ale? And if you were to then try alongside the other, how different would they be?
Very, because the Oh My Gourd is very flavorful. It's quite nice, but this one, all you got to do, put the exact same beer in a differently labeled can, and you call it Holy Crap Charlie Brown. You know, the it's the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown Imperial Pumpkin Ale at harvest time, and I would drink it and say, yeah, that's a 7% pumpkin ale. Bring it on.
That's the power of suggestion. You can throw this in a can with a Christmas tree on it, with baubles hanging from it, and a big Grinch hanging saying, Christmas is all over this thing, and it might just be a generic lager with a tiny hint of something, and you're like, oh my god, this is the Christmassiest thing I've ever had.
Just have a whiff and pick your harvest.
Okay, I'll do that.
Just go back to Ian, it's Halloween. We're having pumpkin ales. What do you think of this one?
Yeah, I'm in a.
It's a bit strong. It's strong.
I'm in a maze. I'm in some kind of corn maze, and
this one is called The Great Pumpkin Kicks Your Ass, Charlie Brown Imperial Pumpkin Ale from Garrison.
Come to mention it, yes, it's an imperial pumpkin ale with peppermint and spices in it.
Oh, don't go question.
Really rather good though, isn't it? It's really rather good.
Well, that's just it. I'm arguing it's so good. I want it during 2 different holidays. I want this. You could throw this out at Valentine's Day and say it's the cinnamon heart freaking ale. Go for it.
There is definitely cinnamon in there, and thank you for saying that. The further I got down the glass, it's by the way, il a disparu. It's gone. I loved it. The further I got down, the sweeter it got.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Rebecca's just said these are all mine now. They're all her dregs, which is wonderful.
Oh dear. I'm going to try to feed my dregs to my wife. But you serve this at Valentine's Day with Love is in the Air Imperial Valentine's Ale. Same thing. Can we not get the all lit up at every holiday?
Yeah.
So you just make 4 different batches, exactly the same beer, stick a different label on there, and it immediately, the power of suggestion and the feeling of the time of year. Wow, yes. I think we've hit something, Ross.
Yes, this is what we do.
Right, our next Irish stout that you and I make together, we'll have a Christmas Irish stout, a pumpkin Irish stout. All we'll do is change the colour of it.
You have your St. Patrick's Day Irish stout.
Yes, and in the middle of 1st of July, a Canada Day one with a big Canada, throw a maple leaf in it, and immediately if it was like, there you go, a little bit of maple syrup in it.
Why aren't there maple syrup beers? We do live north of the questionable border, but I feel like I need some maple syrup beers now. Rob's gone already, sadly, but I will mention it to him. Maple beer. Best maple beers. Maple is by far my favorite stout flavor adjunct. I like the cut of this person's jib. I've only had small taste, blah blah blah, toppling Goliath, and maple BA Black Aggie from Hidden Springs. I love all of these names. Are there any other maple beers?
I'm just taking the dregs off the other 3, Ross. They're all wonderful. The 2 stouts, the bitterness of one and the slightly sweeter, smoother of the other. The 2 stouts are outstanding. And even the lager tastes really good. It's almost like a mouth refresher. They're all really good.
I'm trying to remember how many Stillwells we've had. I don't think too many. Oh wait, we did have their Pilsner. We had their best bitter.
The dark lager is fabulous.
And the cream ale. Didn't think much of the cream ale, but the dark, that is excellent. The Czech style amber ale, amber lager. Sorry, it is very, very good. All 4. Oh man, we had 4. Quite tasty. Rather good. Polite applause.
Did you drink them all 473 cans?
No.
In about an hour and 20 minutes?
No, I drank 2/3 of each, so slightly more than I think you shared with Rebecca. But I'm saving.
And they were all winners. They're all winners for their own.
Yeah.
For their own.
And I can't wait to share them. I'm going to take them out to my wife, who was very, I don't want to say generously, but what's a good way? Must be a word in here somewhere. But my wife was getting our son to sleep, but she is up now, so I will reward her for taking on 100% of the parenting duties since our podcast went live.
Do you think on the other side of Christmas, we've got some whatever it happens, when you throw this thing together again in a week or a week and a half, whatever it happens, do you think the others have even got a chance to be as good as this?
Yep.
Oh,
No, now having said that, not the ones that supposedly taste like Christmas tree.
No.
I'm
not.
looking for.
I'm
I'm looking
expecting
forward to
great things there. However,
Is it-
Cinnamon Bun Imperial Stout.
Okay, yeah.
Oh,
Ross, was it 3 years since we tried the Tannenbaum? Is it 3 years? Was it 3 Christmases ago? Because that was a remarkable experience. And I remember Brittany coming down and saying, "Oh, it tastes like trees," and we all just fell
dear.
about it, because that's what they said. It's just like pine trees, and it was a quite. They did what they said they would do, and they did it in
They did.
spades.
We still gave it really bad marks. You gave it a 6
Yeah.
out of 10.
But the thing is, like we said earlier on, a brewer, a master brewer, is perfectly at liberty to listen to the clientele and say, okay, what can we do then to improve this? The fact that they're still calling it Tannenbaum, I am so excited. When you messaged me a couple of nights ago and said, guess what? I've got some good news and some bad news.
The bad news is I've found this bastard again, and because we talk about this in the it has been 3 years. You're right. It has been 3 years, since we've had this, and I found it again, and I questioned picking it up until I noticed there were 2. It was the last 2.
Why would you even question that? Why would you even question? It would have been the first thing on your list to say, "Wow, get that!"
No, because we have crapped on it for 3 solid years. Why would we buy that again? If after 3 years we said, I wonder if this still tastes like the feeling of eating an actual Christmas tree. Why would I be curious about that? I can't think of a single reason why.
I totally can, because if you were saying we tried a Canadian by Molson 3 years ago, and then 3 years later we said, should we try that again? You know, it's going to taste exactly the bloody same. However, a microbrewery, and therefore, if they're going to say this was our Tannenbaum from 3 years ago, however, we've probably tweaked it a bit in the meantime. Give it a go. I'm really excited to see how it is.
You know what? Instead of being a completely abrasive, in-your-face Christmas tree flavor, we've actually balanced it out with a malt-forward profile and a little bit more of sort of a salty sea air kind of thing. And just for fun, we threw in a handful of jumbo shrimp. Go for it! Eat this Christmas tree flavored beer and see how you're feeling. I have no idea how that's going to go. The only thing that got me more excited than that, I happened to be, I was picking up, I was saying to Rob earlier that I'm putting together a bit of an Advent thing for my brother-in-law of some of my favorite beers, and we had the pale ale when we had pale ale night, and it blew us away with how malt forward some of these pale ales could be, despite the fact that they didn't really have much in the description. So I went to the Salt Box tap room here in Wolfville, just town next door. And while I was there, I know the manager there, and she says, "Yeah, we don't really have anything new, but we have this." she points this out. She's like, "It's the balsam, the balsam blue," and I went, "Oh my God, tell me that another company." Another Nova Scotia craft brewery did not make a Christmas tree flavored beer. And I read it and I went, they made one. It's a Christmas tree flavored beer. But it's a Christmas tree flavored blueberry beer.
Right. That's
what?
I guess we've got to do that next week. You're going to let me know when that thing is going to occur.
Yeah, I'm hoping
Christmas Day next week is a Wednesday.
It is. I mean, who's doing stuff on Christmas Day? I don't know. Everyone can't be that busy, right? This is. My kid's only 1.5. He's 2. He's nearly 2.
We'll discuss in the meantime. I'm sure.
It's true. You know what? The best part about saving a third for my wife is I can keep sipping at each of these.
Right. Well, if it happens next Christmas Day, anyway, we'll speak in the meantime. Until then, great fun as usual. I'm out of here. Vrolijke Weihnacht. No, that's not right. Whatever it is.
Du wirst seine Krankenschwester brachen. That's what you meant.
A Merry Christmas, mate, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.
I know like 3 sentences in German. I want to thank Rob Truscott from Great Roads Brewing for popping into the chat and talking to us about what's going on down there and his interest and opinion. That sounds bad, but his input on what we're drinking tonight. And of course, Ian and Rebecca for joining me tonight. And we are back here every Wednesday except next week, because next week is Christmas Day. Hoping to move it to one of the days in the week. Stay tuned. I don't know. I think maybe the 26th. And yeah, check out the YouTube page, youtube.com/@drinknsdry. You can find our podcast in all the podcasty places. The YouTube page has the most amount of information, but if you want to go straight to the source, it's drinkns.unsupervised.beer, and we're on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and all the other places. But thanks for tuning in, and we will see you at some point next week, because there's more holiday beers to be consumed. So see you then. Good night.